Hi and welcome back to a brand new tutorial on how to make a track from A to Z. Let's have a look at what we've got so far. In this session I've got quite a lot of stuff going on now. I've got all these drums here and I've got some stuff that's muted that I want to get rid of now, and I'm going to tidy up this quickly now. So let's just go back, close my drums, my stack track here, open up the mixer. And so you can see here, I don't want this rubber thing here. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. If you listen to this, it's just sitting in the background doing nothing. I've also added some plugins, and I'm going to take some plugins that I'm not using anymore out. So this delay here, we don't need anymore, and we don't need the track either, so we can get rid of that here. Just click on that and go delete. That will get rid of that. I just don't want all this stuff cluttering up the mix. Here you can see I've added all these plugins here on my master bus that I'm going to be talking about later, and here we will be just going over the mix for now. So here I have the chroma I don't want anymore, and I don't want the gate anymore. That was just to show you how to do a stutter with the gate. So, and these here we're not using either. These they're not getting in the way, but I just want to get rid of them for now. As you can see, there's a new function here in the new version of Logic. Then you turn this off, and this turns the faders, the bus to faders, and that's could be quite useful. Just some new features in Logic that have just come out in the 10.4.2. I would recommend downloading that if you haven't got that yet. So get rid of the sends there, don't need them. Then let's have a look at the tracks we don't want. We don't want this track here. What I do is take the plugins off because they will just slow down the startup of the when I open up the project. When you delete the track, I think they're still there somewhere, and it's just better to get rid of them if you don't want them. So just hit delete, get rid of that track. And up here we got this bass drum I don't want either, so let's get rid of that. It's not doing anything. Got a new bass drum that's kicking much harder now, so get rid of that one as well. Get rid of the content there and the track. So tidy it up. That looks good. So let's have a look at what I've done so far. What I've done here is I've added this sample delay, which is the same thing as what I showed when you copy a track and put them in stereo, except here you can do it straight on the actual track itself, and this will just make that more of a stereo kind of effect in this track here. If I put this in solo, you're going to hear this. So let's just go back and listen to this. If I take that off, it's in the middle. That's my high bass. I've got a sub underneath that in mono. So this is kind of... Now what I've done, I've checked all my levels here. Now with the limiter, they're blocked at output at -10. I've got this at 0 here, so my bass drum is at -10, and I've just got it hidden slightly. It's just a little bit of reduction there, not too much, so it doesn't distort, and that's just controlling that nicely there. Bit of a click there at the end. Let's have a look at that. Why is there a click there? Strange. So let's see if there's a click there. There you go. So we've got to shorten the ends of these here. So it's kind of just not clicking. That's good. Just general sort of final editing before I start mastering. Obviously, when I say mastering, that's quite a big word. I would say it's more of a pre-master. I would advise at this stage, if you're kind of starting out producing, slashing out, you know, €100 or whatever it is to get a stem mix master by someone like myself, and you'll be able to kind of hear the difference when it's done properly by somebody. But this will give you a rough idea of how I do things, but I'm only going to be using stock plugins here, Logic stock plugins, and not third-party plugins, which are, I would say, better. You know, some of the big companies make some great mastering plugins, but we won't be looking at them because they're very expensive, and it's defeating the object here. This is just with stock plugins that I've been working here, apart from Sausage Fattener and the Endless Smile and the Wave Factory's track spacer that I'm going to be putting on the keys here. So we're going to be ducking the keys when the vocal comes in. So I will insert now the Waves Factory. So let's bring in the bus number 6, which is the vocals. Bus number 6 is going to be coming in through the side chain. It's going to bring down the frequencies that are getting in the way. So the vocal will push down the keyboards. So you can hear the difference. This is drastically doing it. So just bring it back. Now, obviously, these two plugins here aren't very expensive. They're like 50 bucks or something. So €50 or $50. So, you know, if you want to buy them, you can buy them. They're pretty useful plugins. So that's that controlled nicely. So I think all my levels are good there. So my limiter is controlling all my levels here in my buses. So I'm sending all my drum parts and keyboard parts and vocals into these. We haven't got a guitar, so we can get rid of this plugin here. Just making the session lighter. So let's get rid of that. There you go. Got rid of that. So now we just have these, and I can now push these out into the master here. So we've got our levels sorted out here, and quite happy with this. So now you can see I've got like a level of about -4 to 5, which is perfect to send out to your master bus. Let's just now have a look at what I've done here. So I've got to select these and then select my master bus here. So number 9 is mastering. And here I've added, first of all, a EQ, vintage console EQ from Logic. And I haven't put any drive on it. I don't want any distortion, any what we call harmonic distortion. It's got a drive, gives it a bit of heat. I don't want any of that. I've put a little bit of 3.5 high gain, and all the rest I've left as it is. Now you can hear, if I turn this on and off, you'll hear the difference. See how that comes automatically, just gives it a bit of top and just a bit of body. Quite nice. So that's that. Then I've got a linear EQ, so I don't want the normal EQ because that boosts the gain and or brings down the gain when I cut or boost frequencies. So I want the linear phase EQ, which doesn't change the actual output of the EQ. So here I've done a cut at 35.5, and here I've just cut out at 225 a little bit of mud. Sometimes I boost here at 50, but I don't need it because my kick and bass are quite loud, so I'm just leaving that as it is. So that's kind of just controlling the sub there. Then I've got a directional mixer here. What I've done is I've put everything underneath 60 in mono, because in a club everything that's under 60 hertz goes to the sub, and then over the top, up the top, I've just done a slight spread to give it a bit of width. So here very subtle bit of width on the top end there. Then I've got the multimeter. What I'm going to do is just put the chain on, so this just will now, when I open up the next plugin, this will take its place. So here I've just done a little bit of general compression. I just leave everything kind of as it is, and then just bring up this a little bit so it's just biting slightly, nothing special. So you can see it's slightly moving here. If I bring this up louder, start distorting. So I don't want that to go into the red there. So I'm just going to keep that like that. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting up here a bit with the multi-compression. Then I've got a compressor behind that that's going to do a bit more lifting as well. So if we listen to this, always keeping it under 0 dB. Just a little bit of compression here. And I use a fast release and quite a slow attack. Then the magic thing, the limiter, which I usually crank up to about 6, between 5 and 6.5, depends on the track. The output level I fix at -2, and the look ahead up at 0, and a release really fast as well. So now you can hear the difference will be quite substantial, so it's going to get loud now. So this is my multimeter, and we're just going to bring this up and activate that. So we're getting kind of a nice RMS. It's not too crushed. So there you have the mastering. So if we compare it to my old track now, there you go. We've got a bit more RMS on this. I've pushed this a bit harder. But that's kind of quite nice for a pre-master. That's pretty good to get an idea of what the sound you want. Then you can send this off without these plugins. If you just hold down Control, then go zip like that, take them off, and you can send this off then to a master and get that done properly. Or you can stem everything out and then just export these individual tracks by soloing them and doing stems, and then sending this out as a stem mix to be done. Or you can just send your master here and without the plugins and get that mastered properly. So this just gives you an idea of what it can sound like. So then once you're happy with your mix and your master, all you need to do is then bounce it out. So we hit bounce here, then we got this window that comes up. Select PCM 24-bit. You can have an MP3 as well that you can select and select the settings that you want, but I won't be doing that. It will do that at the same time. And you have M4A and ACC Apple standards, or you can burn it to a DVD or CD. So I'm going to stick with this, the PCM. I always go 24 bits, 44.1 kilohertz interleaved, and then I go OK, give it a name. So we'll call this Master 1. So now we just go bounce, and make sure that you've got this here, this little arrow. I'll show you that. Just go cancel. So if you move this around, you see this moving here, the actual length of the track here. Like if I go to 13, set that the way we want. So we'll set this to here, and that's the end of the track there. Just give it a little bit of space at the end just in case there's a reverb or something. We can listen to that here. There you go. Out to about there, that's about right. And then we can just hit bounce and that should do it. So go back to bounce, that will go back to the beginning, but I'll just press on beginning to make sure that it is the beginning. So we just go back to the beginning, there you go. And then hit bounce, like I said before, go there and then hit bounce. So I hope you enjoyed this series, because this is the last one, and I'll be back with more short videos on different functions and different tips and tricks for Logic. And so hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get the notifications, leave some comments, and of course like it, and I will see you soon. Ciao.